So, D-Day has arrived. Over a year ago, we ordered, or just about a year ago, I should say, we ordered a boat. Scott has been looking at this boat for many, many years, 4 years to be precise.
4 long years.
Very long years that I have said no to every time. Pandemic, I think, did us in, and we placed the order just about a year ago, and as of late last evening, it was finally delivered. And here it is. It's a 2021 Stabicraft 2750, the first in the state of Florida.
Yes. Now,
why an aluminum-hulled boat in Florida? That's a common question that we get asked.
Well, so there's some safety features built into this, and that's what really drove us. So we took a look at fiberglass boats that were in our price range. We had some concerns with how they felt, right? So the Stabicraft, when we flew out to Oregon last year in January 2020, went to the boat show, and it feels like a well-made vessel.
So we actually were at a boat show here in Tampa, and I walked onto a very popular brand of fiberglass boat, and I went to open one of the cabinet doors and it fell off in my hand. And this is a very, very big brand that's down here in you know, central and southern Florida. And I was like, and it was the same price as the Staby, and I was like, oh. So we go to the boat show. He shows me this one, and I walked off the boat and I said, he goes, what did you think? And I said, well, I really wanted to hate the boat. Like, I was really hoping to hate it as much as I hated said fiberglass boat because I thought it was cheap. It's not. It's sturdy. It's very well built.
And further, there's just one little safety feature that really captured us, and that's the life ring built in. So what you don't see inside here, these pontoons, there's a whole pontoon ring in this aluminum that's individually chambered. These boats are designed to handle the Pacific, where there's a lot of logging. If you punch a hole in one of these chambers, the boat's going to keep floating. In fact, you check out some of the videos where they fill the entire boat up with water and it continues to float. So we wanted something that was fuel efficient, that was strong, and that had a cabin so we could get out of the sun with a large fishing platform in the back. Here you go. This boat has it all. I'm going to take you through it, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. We're going to start with the stern, and then we're going to take it to the bow. On the stern, we have a little dive ladder. It's 2-step. Sturdy. I mean, this is not one of those flimsy little collapsible ones. I mean, this is a very sturdy dive ladder. Okay, right above it.
Bit small for me and my back issues, though.
Yeah, we'll work on that in the future. Right above that, you've got your bilge, right? So there's a bilge pump on each side to pump water out if it gets into the bilge. Well, check this out. They got really smart, and if you come around over here, they also put in a bung. And this bung allows you to open it up when you're storing it on land so that you're not draining your batteries by running the bilge if it rains. Instead, you just let it flush out here. This is sitting right above the Lenco trim tabs. They make a huge, huge difference. We've got dual 200 Yamahas on the back, really fuel efficient. They're inline 4 cylinders. Can't say enough good things about them. I was on the boat last week and just blown away by how fast just a single engine could take you. We did 30 miles an hour. Moving down here, we've got our 3-in-1 transducer that's hooked up to a 16-inch Simrad. It's the NSS Evo 3S. Very fast. I mean, lightning fast, super responsive. So one thing we asked them to do is put on underwater lights that could change color. In Florida, we attract fish at night by using different colors of light. And so these guys are really bright here. And then of course you've got 3 more bungs. So in total there's 5 bungs, which really allow water to flow out if water were to get in, along with multiple pumps. So there's 2 bilges on the side, and then there's a macerator pump down here. So Staby's done a really good job with providing us the opportunity to bail the boat out with multiple pumps at the same time. And why? Because they don't do scuppers. It was told to me that the boat's so well built that the Coast Guard didn't want them to have to put scuppers in. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I really like the fact that there are so many bilge pumps. So let's climb on up. All right, so up front, I'm going to apologize if there's any dirt on the boat. I did pressure wash this, but it also just came all the way across country through multiple snowstorms, so there's a little bit of dirt on the boat. So right away, what we have here, we climbed on board, and we put in the step backrest right there. We've got this cool seat, flips up, got great access here, so you don't really lose a whole lot of room in the back to having a seat. Now we've got a switch here on the side for the power. It's in the off position right now. I can come over here and I can turn it on. And if for some reason I've got low voltage, I can actually flip it one more time and use all 3 batteries to provide one source of power to get those engines started. Once the engines are running, the alternators do the rest, recharge the batteries, super slick. Down here, we've got an auto shutoff for the drum winch up front. It's a safety feature. No reason to have your drum winch engaged, people potentially tripping over it and setting it off. This is more for the old style windlass, but this is a safety feature nevertheless. If you're not going to be using your drum winch, don't provide power to it. That way you don't have to worry about it deploying or coming up when people are not paying attention. I've got some 12-volt connections for some electric reels, or if I want to put downriggers on here that are electric, or if I want to put you know, another live well on here with just a cooler, it gives me that opportunity to connect to it. So I really like this. We got one on each side, and here are the cutoffs for those. All right, so we're going to talk about the bait station real quick. We're going to start on the bottom, work the way to the top. So down here we've got our water flow controls. So we have 2 tuna tubes that are controlled by 1 large pump. Each one of these provides water to each tube, so you can choose whether or not to route that pump's water into a tube or not. And then the third one is for the live well over there. Moving up here, we've got the battery box. In the past, Staby used to use a rubber black insert here with holes in it. I really like that they went to a flip open plastic. And as you can see in here, I've got 3 batteries. I also have some equipment back there, fuse panel, along with a POCO, which controls the underwater lights from the multifunction display, also known as an MFD, aka our Simrad NSS16 Evo 3S. Now, closing this up, I want to show you guys this cool little thing. If you want to come look at this. This is the standard cutting board on the 2750. It's got 2 cup holders. It's got these little places where you can put your weights and whatnot. 4 rocket launchers in the back. Now, on other boats, what you saw was a knife holder here, which is an awesome feature. I wasn't too thrilled when I first saw this, but I've come to really like it. So instead of giving me a knife holder, what Staby's done is they put this little lid in here. Inside here is just an opening where I can now put the line that I'm going to use the most and route it out here. That way I have access as I'm threading my baits and pulling leader line off. It's right there and accessible above the cutting board. All right, so on the back, the last thing that I want to show you are these tuna tubes. If you're not familiar with tuna tubes, it's simply where you put bait fish that are larger than what you want to keep in your live well, because they'll eat other baits. But you want to keep them alive so they're active. You put them head down in here, it circulates water up and keeps them oxygenated, but they can't go anywhere. And then you've got a nice, you know, big size fish that you can use as a bait.
Down here, Bonita's a big one. Okay, so you're gonna notice on the sides of the boat, we have multiple rod holders. The ones in the back are built for trolling. Florida, that's a big thing. That's how you're gonna get your sailfish, your marlin, your blackfin tuna. You're also gonna notice right here, this is your gas cap. There have been multiple instances here in Florida where people have pulled up to the gas station and accidentally put gas in the rod holders. As you're gonna notice on the Staby, you're not gonna have that problem confusing the rod holder with the gas cap. Rod holders are silver, gas cap is black. So again, put the gas in the gas tank, not the rod holder. Looking at you, Florida man. So down here, you're gonna see your raw water washdown. We have this piece of wood here. It's not standard, this is just for transport. There is actually a 12-volt port up here, and they're keeping everything, they were keeping everything sturdy and held together during the transport time. So we've got straight back for trolling. Out here you can put down you can put individual rods, or you can actually add the extenders, which we saw in the Pacific Northwest. Down here in Florida, I don't know if it's gonna be needed as much. But we've got 3 on each side in the back, and then more in the front, and you can actually get the ones that attach to your railing, and in the front or the sides you can add some more rod holders. Buddy, look up.
Hey guys, so I'm 6 feet tall, and I'm sitting in the fish box. Now, aluminum won't maintain the ice that well when it's touching 80-degree water, so I'm gonna have to put some foam in here to insulate it, but that's neither here nor there for the maiden voyage. Not worried about that. That's a nice big fish box. Other thing, we talked about how boats feel. Check this out. Right? Sturdy. It feels strong. All right, you wanna go outside? So for safety reasons, what I've done and security reasons, I keep these locked. Door swings open, locked shut. There's no shaking.
That was a really bad face.
Sorry. There's no shaking, right? The door's locked. It's great. So
That was the plastic that was on the seats.
yeah, this boat's so new. I'm still working on unpacking everything. So right away coming in here, you got this nice grab rail right here. If you got people that want to stand up, but you know, 2 seats here. At first glance, when I saw this at the boat show, it's like, I don't know how comfortable these are, guys. That's comfortable. Now this is Velcroed on, so if I wanted to put seats there or a cooler underneath, you know, endless possibilities. Safety equipment's really important, so I got to unpack all this later on tonight. But I got my fire extinguishers and all the
Life vests,
throwables, everything that the Coast Guard requires. So during the test run, the MFD had a 3-amp fuse that went out. It wasn't big enough. Well, this dome light up here had a 5-amp fuse, so we were able to just swap them out. They replaced the one that we had to remove. But the bottom line is always have spare fuses on your boat. You never know what's gonna go out, and you never wanna be caught on the water without something as simple as this. $8 for 100 pieces. Off my soapbox about safety equipment, because you guys wanna see the boat. So, let me get here. Again, really sturdy. This is the inside storage. Now, before I go into the size, the storage in the stern, in the cabin, and up front are all interconnected. And you can pump water all the way through it, and they also have little plugs, little bungs between each of them. So you can get this thing completely dry. You can also put water in there if you need to, you know, ice, water, whatever. But it's a really nice feature to have because you never know when you get caught in a rainstorm or somebody drips water in here after they've gone diving. I want you to take a look at how big this fender is. I've got 4 of them in here. So they're 22 inches each, I believe. It's about 44 inches in depth, if you will, roughly. Even longer, so let's just call it 48. Plenty of room to put everything, because when you look up here, you're not gonna see a lot of storage. So this is gonna be your main storage compartment outside of the cuddy. Again, it doesn't slam. Everything was really well thought out. I've got some interior lights here. I've got my Fusion speakers. Got a good deal of storage under each of these seats. Now, these Airwave pedestals, they are a little bit loose, but I found when we were doing our check ride that was okay. This boat doesn't bounce a lot, and so that little bit of play actually helps cushion the remainder of any waves that you might need to be absorbing. So the Airwave pedestals come with a little placard, and they show you, based off of the weight of the person sitting in here along with the chair, what the proper pressure should be, both in the black tube and the red tube. They come with little pumps. I've got to set those for Megan and myself until she becomes the captain, and I'm just Gilligan on a 3-hour tour. Next up, I'm going to open the hatch. It's hot right now in Florida. I'm sweating. Open this guy up like that. Immediately you feel a little bit of breeze. Slide these windows open.
Now, if any of you guys have any ideas on hooking up air conditioning let us know, because we really want to put air conditioning in here, but everybody we have talked to has said they don't know how to do it. So we're really looking for a way to put in
12-volt system.
A 12-volt system of air conditioning.
And we're not necessarily looking for an RV that's 50 pounds. If I've got something sitting up here, it's got to be enough weight where I can put it in and take it out. We are keeping this stored on land in a enclosed lot, but I want to be able to secure all of my belongings at night. Right now
our go-to is going to be a stand-up air conditioning unit and an electric generator.
Yep. So we've kind of thought through some of that. Let's talk about the brains of the boat. I'm not talking about Megan. She's the big brain of the boat. We're talking about the MFD. So we went with the 16-inch Simrad NSS Evo 3S. The processor, I believe there's 6 cores in it. It's very fast. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. If you guys want to see a full walkthrough of the capabilities of this system, let me know in the comments below, and I'll go ahead and do it. So holding the power button here. System's firing up. One of the things you're going to notice right away is just how quick it is. I've had older systems, and sometimes it takes 2-3 minutes for these things to fire up. This one's relatively quick. So while that's happening, I just want to point out that the Autopilot control here is firing up as well. I'm not going to turn on the Yamaha here because I don't have the engines on it. I don't want to turn them on. I'll show you guys that on the water. I've got my VHF over here. I did not go with the AIS systems. I want to be able to make calls. I don't necessarily need to know what other vessels are right there because I do have radar. In fact, I've got the Halo 20 Plus, so I've got 2 transmitters on my radar. So I can see what boats are out there. I don't necessarily need to know who they are because I can always reach out and call them. So, all right, so we got this guy fired up. I'm gonna click accept. Autopilot right here is just giving me a little warning. Click accept when you get down there to the bottom. And there you go. So autopilot on this is really neat. You can enable it with the MFD here, but if you're looking at a different screen, you can also use this little autopilot guide right here. And when the MFD went out during our test run because of the blown fuse, what was really neat is we found that we could still run this right here, autopilot, even though the MFD wasn't functional. And so that helped us, right? So if you're underway and you need to troubleshoot a lot of things, storms coming in, whatever, this remained functional. So now up top, what we have is this Simrad VHF radio. And we have our Fusion. Okay, so that's tied to the MFD as well. All right, and so you can see how responsive this is. Just to give you an idea of the lights, the underwater lights. I come here, and here's the Poco. I haven't added any extra switches, but it's real simple to add extra switches, so you can have multiple arrays of lights, all controlled by this system made by Lumitech. Over on the side, I've got my horn, real loud. I've got my trim tabs. Down here I have both a standard cigarette lighter and USB ports. And I've got my dual controls for the Yamaha. So what comes standard on a Stabicraft? Well, I've got my Tuna Tubes here. I've got my washer, but I don't have a washer installed for the windshield wipers. I have a waste pump here. I have a bait tank pump, a deck wash, and my bilge pumps. I also have wiper for the port, wiper for the starboard, interior lights and spotlights, cabin lights, and my nav lights. Down there you can see the blue light right next to my foot. That's what you see on the inside. Up here you've got some cabin lights, lights out here. And as far as lighting goes, I do have one light bar that I need to install. Y Marina did a really great job. They've run some cables for me, and they're located up under this stereo housing right here. I'm just going to wire them up, and I'm going to have a full light bar, and that's also RGB, so that we can produce different colors on the surface of the water to attract different types of fish. As far as electronics goes, that's pretty much it. The steering wheel is very, very sturdy, and yes, when you're on plane, it feels like a race car. So now let's talk about the cuddy. What you're going to see down here are these holes. Okay, this hole right here has a little switch inside of it, as does this one right here. And what these switches do, they allow you to pull this wall down. So let's do it. All right, so we're going to get the one on the port side and hold our hand here. And we're going to do the one on the starboard side, and down it comes. And now you got a queen size bed. All the way back here, we also have a hatch up top and a toilet paper roll inside. Why do we have a toilet paper roll? Because we have an electric head. What's really neat, there's some valves down there. When you are far enough offshore and you're in compliance with regulations, you can actually flush out to sea. And of course, when you're within those areas, you can put it into a holding tank just by how you set the valves. And flushing is as easy as just pushing this button right here, and it all goes down. So there you have it. That's the cabin. Now let's go show you the bow and what's on the top, and then we'll conclude. But man, does it feel good to be on this boat. So one of the things I really like about Stabies, these welded cleats are so strong. But there are two scuppers. There's one here and one on the other side. And what that's really for is if you take a wave over the bow, the water will come out the sides. We were in some pretty rough stuff during the check ride, 3s and 4s, and it was breaking 10s, you know, maybe a quarter mile away in the mouth of the river leading out to the ocean up in the Pacific Northwest. If you take a wave over the front, it will drain out the sides. I can't say that I see that happening a whole bunch. This boat, the way it rides on the water, stays on top of the water, and it pushes water away from it, so you really don't get those waves over the bow to begin with. So one of the things that I really like about what Stabie did is they've gone to a drum winch instead of your typical windlass. So you've got that down here with some drain holes all the way in the bottom. It's going to be real important in case you do get water in there, or if you use your anchor and your rope is wet, not a big deal, it'll drain out the bottom.
Well, bigger deal, you can wash it off and it'll drain out the bottom, so you don't have to worry about the saltwater corrosion.
There you go. So in addition to the drum winch that Stabie added, they also gave you this little door right here, so you can troubleshoot both your electronics, which I'll show you here, it goes to the Minn Kota, or the chain for the anchor. Speaking of our trolling motor, I've got power here, which simply connects into this port right here. It's pretty straightforward. You plug it in, spin it on, and it's good to go. Keep that locked up though for this evening. Now down here what you have are these star ports. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. They come standard. They're Railblazer star ports, so you're going to go with that brand if you get a Stabie, unless you ask them for something else. Not a big deal, right? You get 4 more rod holders up front. So let's talk about this railing for a sec. If you're fishing in the front, right, you need a railing that's high enough. And this hits me about mid-thigh, right? I feel really sturdy up here, real safe. And this is a real strong railing.
And again, this is more for me because I am pretty much an accident waiting to happen.
Prone to accidents, but I love her with all my heart. In Florida, we do a lot of cast netting for our bait. Out in California, I know you guys have those little bait stations. You go, pull up, pay for them. We don't have that down here. So
pay for a hoop of bait.
Yeah. So down here, you know, we cast net. And what's really cool is this comes right above my knee. So I can actually throw a cast net right off the bow and be perfectly fine. The beauty of having the trolling motor right there as well is it comes with a remote. So if I was really to be standing up here and I needed to, I could keep the remote in under my shirt. I could put myself right over the fish, give it a go, and just take it to the back and put it in the live well. Yeah. All right, the last little bit of the boat is the trailer. We've got this easy loader, dual axle, pretty standard. It's a bunk trailer. Down here you can see we got these rollers that help the boat get up onto the roller in the front, but when it's underway, the boat should not be resting on these. Up here we've got our safety chain, and then we've got a shackle. I've got this little clip here so that when we're underway, I can prevent it from banging and making a ton of noise against the boat with this little twist, with this little rubber twist. Finally, we've got the braking system. This does require a 5-pin connector. So if you only have a 4-pin, you need to get a 5-pin. That's one thing that I did find out. If you're interested in how you can lock this, there's a pin here that pulls out. And I've seen people that have long locks that go this way. What I've got instead is a ball that'll go up in here and cover the top so that you can't lift this up. That should be down. And there you have it. 4 years in the making, and tomorrow is her maiden voyage.
Without me.
Yeah, Megan, you know, there's a shirt out there that says, "Please forgive me for the things I said while docking the boat. I didn't mean it." Well, that's, you know, couples go through all sorts of things when learning to
ask him about the first boat we ever had.
No, please don't. Don't ask in the comments below. But anyways, we're going to take the boat out tomorrow. We got 4 of us going out. And it's supposed to be 1.3 to 1 foot. It's going to be awesome. Sun's going to be shining. Stabicraft in Florida. This is Fish Forage Hunt. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to see you on the next video.